Hello everybody, welcome back. This is my second video, and today we're going to be going over human factors. And this is mostly just going to be talking about the human body and what it can experience during flight that may harm us or even hinder our ability to perform certain tasks. So we'll look at that. This one shouldn't be a very long one. I've split it into two parts. This one is going to be more of like a medical kind of thing. We're not going to go too far in depth, and you shouldn't memorize it like really down to heart, but you should memorize some of the good parts. And then the next one we are going to have to memorize pretty well. But yeah, so I mean, I'm doing this all for free, of course. Never charge it, and that's pretty much it. So if you enjoy, leave a like. It'll help me out a lot, and hope you enjoy. So we're gonna start off here. And here's our oxygen requirements. Okay, so oxygen is pretty important for us to live. I don't know if you know that, but so here's the rule. From 12,501 feet MSL and 14,000 feet MSL, oxygen is required for the pilot after 30 minutes between those two altitudes. And that is 30 minutes combined. You cannot stay in that area for 20 minutes and then go back down below 12,501. And then it resets the timer. That timer does not reset. That is 30 minutes combined. That's very important to know. They'll try and get you on that for your check ride. And then above 14,000 feet, 14,000 feet is however high your plane can go. The oxygen is required for the pilot at all times. So you're going to have oxygen at all times above 14,000 feet MSL. And above 15,000 feet MSL up to wherever your plane goes, oxygen must be available for everyone on board. So everybody needs to have oxygen, pilots and everyone on board. Okay, let's talk about hypoxia. So, hypoxia is a lack of oxygen to the body. A good example of this outside of aviation, up here top right, is Mount Everest. Once you get to the top, once you're at that certain point, you can only be up there for an extended amount of time because of hypoxia. They're afraid that you'll get hypoxia. And there are four types, and these are as listed. Hypoxic is a lack of oxygen entering the body. So this is once you get up to high altitudes or like Mount Everest, right? There's not enough air molecules to get into the body. So that is hypoxic hypoxia. Hypemic hypoxia is blood can't carry enough oxygen. So your red blood cells specifically just can't carry the oxygen. Hystoxic is blood is not accepting the oxygen. This happens when you're intoxicated or high. And you can remember this hystoxic, intoxicated, right? That's why they share a similar root there. Stagnant is a lack of flow for oxygen. That can be, when somebody like puts you in a headlock, that's kind of an example of stagnant, kind of the airway closing. The symptoms is blue fingertips and lips, euphoria, headache, and dizziness. Your big things here is going to be your blue lips and euphoria. You're definitely going to feel that. If you go visit an altitude chamber, and you go in there, you're definitely going to feel this euphoria. They have you like write stuff down, and then they change the altitude higher and higher, and then you start like not being able to write. You lose kind of cognitive function, and that's what happens with hypoxia. It's the same kind of idea. So hypoxia is the one that you need to study the most. I think this is the most important. Make sure you have this down by heart. Okay, carbon monoxide. This is important to know. This is colorless, odorless, and tasteless. And apparently it can't be heard according to this chart down here. I don't think I can hear much of anything that's like an air, but whatever. It is commonly a result of cracks in the plane. So your engine's going and it puts out that exhaust, and that exhaust can go through the cracks of your plane, and it does affect you severely. People do die of carbon monoxide quite often. Your symptoms are headaches, drowsiness, blurred vision, and I didn't put it on here, but muscular loss. Your muscles start to perform less. Like you go to lift your arm or something, and it feels heavy, you know. But the things you need to know here is the symptoms are headaches and blurred vision. You're definitely gonna feel that. And you need to know, of course, it's colorless, odorless, tasteless. There's no way to detect it other than this thing in the bottom right. Most planes, if not all, have this in there. And it says dark spot is danger. So basically, when this thing receives carbon monoxide, it turns dark, and color restores as air freshens. So if you see this thing dark, you might want to figure something out there. For us Cessna pilots, open the windows. Slow that airspeed down and open the windows if you're flying. Very important, very important. Hyperventilation, we're going to briefly touch this. It's rapid and deep breathing due to panic or stress. You exhale and inhale so fast that you absorb your own carbon dioxide. So as you know, when you inhale oxygen and then you exhale, right, you're releasing that carbon dioxide. But then as you're releasing it, it doesn't even exit your body, and then you inhale again. So you're just receiving your own carbon dioxide emissions, which is very bad for us, and that can cause sickness. Your symptoms is going to be lightheadedness, drowsiness, tingling in the arms, and sweating. Lightheadedness is the big one to remember there. So all you need to know is that you're breathing so much that you're inhaling your own carbon dioxide, which is not good. Okay, and here's what can cause hyperventilation. This is what I really wanted to stress here. Um, so hyperventilation is pretty much a direct result of stress. And here's all the things that can cause stress: unemployment, chronic pain, new baby, fear, new job, health problems, divorce, bullying, grief, illness, work stress. So all of that can culminate, even one or two or all, hopefully you don't have all. I'm praying for you if you do there. But that can go into hyperventilation. So you start hyperventilation and you go down here and you start to feel unwell. So you get anxiety because you feel unwell. And then that anxiety causes more hyperventilation. And then that's an increase of symptoms, which causes you to be more stressed out, which then causes more hyperventilation. And that is a downward spiral. This happens more than you could expect. Motion sickness here. The body is receiving odd signals and feels disoriented. And by odd signals, I'm talking down here. We're going to go more in depth on this. Don't really read this or take a picture yet. We'll touch on this in the second part of this lesson on another video. But basically, this is called your middle ear, and it's a liquid inside of your ear that gives you a sense of stability and where you are. It basically just calibrates your body to movement. So your body is receiving odd signals from the middle ear and feels disoriented. So basically, you're sitting in a plane and you're moving and turning, and your body is saying, I think I'm going to die. Your middle ear is telling you, I'm going to die. But you're sitting there saying, I'm fine. So those odd signals can cause you to be disoriented or even stress. It can cause stress, anxiety, medication. Sorry. It can cause stress and anxiety, but it can also be caused by medication, alcohol, and drugs. The symptoms is dizziness, cold sweating, headaches, and confusion. Dizziness and headaches are kind of your big thing, but I'd say dizziness and confusion are your two things that you need to know for that. And pretty much all you need to know is this middle ear concept, because that is going to show back up in the second part of our lesson in another video. Stress. We kind of went over stress already. Let's go over it again. We're going to go over stress a little bit in depth here. Acute versus chronic. So your acute over here, if you look at the right, it is a sudden, typical, short-lived, threatening event. It can be like giving a speech, that stress, that heart beating. That's not a long-term type of thing. It's a one-time stressful experience. Intermittent fasting, that can be a big cause. Lifting heavy weights, a life change, somebody dies around you. Presentation at work or running sprints, those are all short-lived, yet they can affect you pretty significantly. When you go up to give a speech, I'm sure you're more stressed than driving to work. But let's talk about chronic stress. It's ongoing environmental demand. So driving to work every day and it's stressful can be very bad. A poor diet, poor sleep habits, marital conflict, negative friends, or work stress. This needs to be treated or fixed. You can fix a drive to work, a poor diet, a poor sleep habit. Marital conflict needs to be treated. Negative friends needs to be fixed. All that kind of stuff. And these are just examples. These aren't all what can happen. This is a good idea of what it kind of looks like. Alcohol, we're at the latter half here. Don't worry, just hang in for about a few more minutes. Alcohol is 8 hours bottle to the throttle is kind of the term there. And you need to be below a 0.04% blood alcohol limit. For reference, that is half the legal limit for driving. So FAA regulation says 8 to 12 hours between drinking. I would suggest 12. Always go on the higher end of stuff for sure because you just want to make sure that you're safe. But as long as you're below a 0.04%, you're legally covered. But I would walk into a flight fully sober. But that's just me. I also can't drink yet, so I don't really have to worry about this, but it's fine. Breaking FAA rules can result in a 1-year license suspension, dismissal, and criminal prosecution. This is the only thing in this entire slideshow really that can get you criminally prosecuted, so don't do it. Remember this to heart. It's two things, two things. And then the last thing here is medication. You just need to check the FAA website. Even stuff, harmless medication, like you think Tylenol, Benadryl, that can be maybe restricted for flying. So you need to check the FAA website and just make sure that everything you've got there is good. And that is all for this first part. So that's pretty much just your bodily factors, everything that can affect your body physically. On the next lesson, next video, we're going to be talking about illusion, something that you as a person kind of twist, you know. So we'll go more in depth about that. So don't worry about that just quite yet. But thank you for watching, sticking around. I know it kind of went farther than I thought, but hopefully this was helpful, and have a great day, y'all.